Ross Chastain used the wall all the way around this racetrack. Logano has been the class of the field.
Check out the big brain on Brad.
Yeah, I need to change my underwear.
With Michigan in the horizon, or the rear view, and Mexico in the horizon, it's time to turn ourselves and our attention to some road course, street course, road racing.
We'll call it a street.
We'll go left. We'll go right. We'll
call it a
see what we can
strode.
do.
How about that?
Yeah, sure. We head to Mexico. We get some road course racing. We get some bananas numbers. We'll jump into the odds and what to do and how to think about it and all that good stuff. But Brian Twining, how the hell are you?
Oh, I'm still in Vegas. Shucks, right? I know. I had to wait for the openers for this gosh darn who the F knows race for some reason. And as you said, there's been some wackiness at the sports books to open the week.
Yeah. We'll dive into that, get it going, all that good stuff. We are like 2 subscribers away from 1,300, so help get us there. And I did want to put out a little call to action, as they say. If y'all get us to 1,500 subs before the NASCAR playoffs, which Brian can do the math on how long that is.
Coming quick.
We'll give out $100 Fanatics gift card to someone who comments once we get past that 1,500. So if we get there before the playoffs, then we'll do a giveaway for the playoffs. You can get yourself some NASCAR gear, some whatever you want. Get a football jersey for the season, whatever you want to do. So $100 if you get us over 1,500 before the NASCAR playoffs. So we'll keep an eye on that. Brian Twining, before we talk Mexico and some road course racing, let's talk Michigan. Because it was fun. It was a bad ending for the pocketbook.
Yeah.
And make sure you click the like and subscribe. As someone who had William Byron over Tyler Reddick, it really hurt to watch him run out of gas. But Michigan delivered. Michigan was a fun race. I know at the end of the day when you're doing the tallies and it's not as nice as you expected, it was a fun race, especially after the last couple where there wasn't a lot of passing, a lot of going around. Michigan delivered passing, action, nonsense. Tyler Reddick having to start at the rear, still having a great day, despite neither of us wanting to back him. And
he didn't win, though.
No, he did not win, which is, for what it's worth, what we say. We did fade him, and it did not go well. Byron just running out of gas. And Carson Hocevar. Like, we talked about Byron, too. Like, between Darlington and the Coke 600, like, this guy is, like, 99% of the way and doesn't quite get there. And once again, leading on the laps, has it and runs out of gas. And then poor Carson Hocevar.
I was just going to say, look, I don't think there's really anybody in the Cup Series right now that has done what they needed to win a race and hasn't won a race. Because William Byron has he's lost races. Mm-hmm. He hasn't gone up there and taken races. Yeah. Carson Hocevar is in a Spire car, and for the last, I don't know, maybe 4-5 races, he's looked like a top 3 contender almost every single week, and he's had something out of his control happen.
Yeah.
That took him out of the race. So
if I can find the tweet while we're talking, but I found a tweet where they were basically breaking down all of the nonsense that happened to him over the last,
honestly, it's since
months.
The beginning of the season too, because he had a good run in Atlanta.
Yeah. So Daytona, fuel pump issues all race, finished 30th. In Phoenix, he was in the big one at a non-super speedway, which is crazy. He was running near the top 10, made an unscheduled pit stop in the final stage, finished 30th. Running near the top 10, had a battery issue in the final stage at Homestead, blew a tire at Darlington, finished 32nd. Running top 3, abysmal pit stop, relegated to the back, finished 11th.
Where?
To 11th. Texas, he was running top 5, a pit lane before the caution came out. Oh, yeah, he went in the pits. Then caution came out, ended up finishing 24th.
Yep.
Running in the back of the top 10, blew a tire, finished 26th. This is Charlotte battling for the lead, obviously. Engine finished 34th, and then Michigan leading the race. Right tire blew.
Well, his right tire blew after he had lost the lead because he was fuel saving.
Yeah, but like,
yeah, a win is coming for Hocevar, and I'm saying it right now, right here. I've been saying it for the last few days. Pocono, Hocevar is going to win Pocono.
Okay, get your tickets in now.
Just, I mean, when you look at Pocono speed, you think about the 3 separate long ass straights that we have there, and what does he do almost as good as anybody in the series right now? It's go fast.
Yeah. And then, of course, as we talked DraftKings too, had a cash team with Byron as the dominator, and I was cashing all 3 of those, and him running out of gas and finishing whatever he finished, 20 something, took me out of the cut on all 3 of them. It's
okay. So now that you say that, I want to segue into the part of the show where I throw some dirt on the flames of everybody getting excited at Michigan. Passing only happened on restarts and within the first 15 laps of a run, because after that moment, everybody was basically the same. There was almost no tire fall off. I mean, who was it? Was it Blaney or somebody held off for the lead late in that first stage on no tires or something? And then
Byron won stage 1 and stage 2 because that's what Byron does. But he passed somebody at the end. Or someone was trying to pass him. I forget.
Yeah, it was something of that nature with tires not really mattering again. And then why do we have cars that have separate and different fuel mileage gas tanks? I don't understand how the Chevys were unable to make it at the end of the race when Denny was able to get there and he had stopped at the same time. I don't.
He didn't stop at the same time. He stopped after.
No,
he put more gas in it. I forget what but he had more fuel than everyone else, and he was doing a better job at saving.
I guess, I don't know. It just fuel strategy races. They're fun.
It was Cindric who was messing around with tires.
Yeah, and he held off. It was Byron or somebody for a shitload of laps that should not occur on no tires, on not fresh rubber. And so, look, it was a lot of fun, but looking at this from more of a bettor's perspective now, it's difficult to enjoy the racing when you're not getting the guys in their best equipment. And it basically comes down to, okay, who did the best job of putting in their fuel but not losing positions on pit road?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because passing was so difficult on the track again, even for Hocevar. Hocevar was up there because they went a little short on the gas tank. That was the only way that he got to the front on that pit stop.
Yeah. Well, and then of course Bell tries to run it long and hope he gets a caution. And I was like, here we go, baby. We're gonna get a caution. He's gonna move. He's gonna be up in the front. He's gonna have a good day. And of course, he has to pit 2 laps before the caution comes out and gets stuck in the back all day.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I mean. Christopher Bell wasn't great.
No,
by any means.
But if he would have made it stick up there, he would have been a contender for the race.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So think about that. Had luck gone his way and a caution been thrown at the when it was 2 laps before it happened 2 laps after he pit. Had that caution been thrown 3 or 4 laps before that, Christopher Bell is probably contending for the win at the end of the day. And was
Yeah,
he
I mean, we're betting
realistically a
on
race-winning car? No.
we're betting on cars with 4 tires, different engines, different transmissions. Weird stuff's gonna happen. I'm just happy they're not exploding, and I'm happy that there's passing for the lead, even if it's
Yeah.
early or if it's late or if it's because somebody ran out of gas.
Yeah, and then I was also pretty heartbroken for our buddy Chris Buescher because had he not stumbled early in that final segment where he lost like 3 spots, I think it was, he was running 4th and he fell back to 7th. I think it's because at that moment he was ahead of Denny Hamlin. It's
Yeah, he
actually
was moving
Buescher.
forward, and I was like, "Oh, baby, here we go." Like,
Yeah.
even if you don't win, top 5 feels good, and I mean,
Yeah,
he
it was
ultimately
actually
ends up
Buescher
getting
who I
there, but
thought should have won the race.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It was a good race. I enjoyed it. I like Michigan. It's one of my favorite
And
tracks.
maybe it was, because we just come off of Nashville and off of Kansas,
Mm.
where it was just
Well, a lot of the races the last month before Michigan were fit.
yeah, and maybe that's why it feels a lot more fun
Exactly.
than it actually was. DraftKings was okay. Hamlin was fine, but like given his price tag and everything, like he didn't really do a lot from a DraftKings perspective, even though he won the race.
Denny Hamlin had the traditional William Byron day. He just
Yeah.
rode up front and was there when it mattered most.
Yep. Yep. Bell was fine. Wasn't the mind blower that people thought he could be. And it was
Yeah.
actually really interesting because in cash, Bell was really popular, like clearly. But Keselowski was actually, at least in the ones that I was playing,
Mhm.
was almost 100% owned in a lot. Like he was 90 something in all the contests I was in.
Jeez.
It's just crazy. And of course, Alex Bowman.
Gosh, that poor guy, man.
And I know it's not his fault. He got custard. But my God, this guy has. It feels like he's finished like 4 stages in the last 3 races,
He's had a really bad
or
stretch
maybe
of
4 in the last 5. I don't know. He just keeps
yeah.
crashing in stage 1.
And I mean, knock on I think this table's wood here that he's healthy enough to race this weekend because that was a gnarly shot.
Yeah.
And he looked as if he was definitely going to concussion protocol during
Yeah,
his
usually the guys are like, "Oh, I'm fine, no worries, no big deal." He's like, "I felt that. That
yeah,
was hard."
that one hurt.
And I was like, "Oh." Let's see what else we got. So Larson was also kind of not
Blah.
great,
Yeah.
really expensive. Didn't really do a whole lot for you. Ross was solid. Tyrone, there was a point where it felt like Tyrone was going to do something.
He was
Um,
ass. The entire day he
well,
sucked.
yeah. Suarez, mi amigo, came through big time. If you give me a 30-something starting position on an oval and you could tell me he finishes 15, 16, 17, somewhere in there, I'll be happy. And the Gilly gang was wrecked, so
Hey, they
that's
had to get
that.
the 99 some momentum going into
Hmm.
this week. So
And stop me if you've heard this before, but Ryan Blaney had an issue and did not finish the race. So that's
poor
good for Ryan
Blaney.
Blaney. Tyler Reddick, as we mentioned, moved forward, but then backward, but then was still close enough to ruin a lot of our head-to-heads. It was
And then
all
remember, Big Bad Brad is probably the reason why Reddick is not winning the race because he blocked him into his pit
yeah.
stall.
Yep, and it's probably Reddick's fault, but that's okay.
Yeah. And Bubba, look,
Shouts to Bubba, another top fiver.
he was kicking ass. And there was a moment in that race where I actually thought he had a chance to win.
Yep.
Because he was the fastest car for numerous laps. I mean, you see 13 fastest laps, especially the later into the runs that we would get. The 23 car really turned on.
Yeah, so shouts to Bubba and Brad. Brad obviously was popular, but he was good. Top 10 day. Felt like at points he wasn't going to do much, and then he got going, and then he was kind of in weird predicaments. Busher was definitely the best RFK car. Eric Jones almost got that top 10 for us. So close. Yeah. So I don't know. Fine day on DraftKings.com. Not mind blowing, but also not completely horrendous. So we'll flip it over and look at the betting card. I'm so happy I added Toyota to win.
That was a good call.
Because I just I keep going, okay, I like Bell and I like Bubba and I like and Reddick was fast, but even though we were like, well, I don't really want to bet him because he might go to the rear, and I was like, just give me Toyota to win. Plus 145. Took it, cashed it. Bubba top 10, probably should have done top 5, but that's okay. Busher top 5. I was so worried about that when I saw that, because Brian and I, if you don't subscribe to the newsletter, aoppodcast.substack.com. Once again, aoppodcast.substack.com. Link is in the description, completely free. Comes into your email inbox every race day. DraftKings thoughts, bets, grid rivals picks, links to the episodes, other random stuff. We both do it separately, and then he just, it's on like Google Drive, so I just go in and grab whatever he puts and I cobble it together. And I went golfing. I went night golfing Saturday night, so I came back late and was putting it all together, and I was like, oh no, oh no, because we each wrote up one bet. And it was Chris Buescher top 5. Like, this dude's finishing 35th for sure.
Yep.
But no, we got it there. We cashed it. I even added a little Eric Jones top 10 at 550 just because that number felt aggressive.
That was so close to hitting.
And you got 11th, of course. So, but decent week, profitable week. I made like 7 units back, so I'm back in the. I'm back close to even.
I definitely gave a little bit back. I'm still a little perturbed about Hocevar over Gibbs because that was that one should have cashed.
Hocevar over Gibbs should have cashed. Byron over Reddick should have cashed. I don't know. Any other Michigan takeaways before we turn the page and talk a little? What's this actual race actually called? Instead of just referring to it as Mexico.
It's the Viva Mexico 250.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to Michigan as the track starts to age, because you heard multiple drivers talk about how this car in particular seems to race really well there. I do think that they still need to work on the tires, or maybe we do get an increase in horsepower in this package, because I think that would make the racing that much better, just giving guys the ability to actually pass. But outside of that, it was good. It was a good race. I don't think it was anywhere near the 93% or whatever it got on the Jeff Gluck poll this week.
I think unless you don't like Denny Hamlin or your favorite driver ran out of gas.
No, but I think a lot of the reason why it got such a good vote is the pass for the win occurred really late in the race, and everybody seems to forget anything that happens ahead of that. And we had just come off of probably one of the worst months in the Gen 7 era at intermediate tracks. So a lot of people were just clamoring for some good racing. And even if this was just good racing, because of how much better it looked than the previous tracks, it just got multiplied in terms of who was saying yes versus who was saying no.
Yeah. I'm trying to find it, but do you remember who did the testing in Mexico? I know it was Suarez and Chase Elliott, and
did they? I don't think they did testing, did they?
I know they went down there and looked at the track at least. Blaney, maybe?
Oh yeah, no, I don't think they actually ran laps.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Daniel Suarez, Bubba Wallace, Chase Elliott. I think Blaney? That was it. Maybe somebody else. Oh yeah, Blaney. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember we were asking him about it in Vegas, and he was like, "Yeah, because there was a whole scuttlebutt about will Mexico happen or will it not happen." He's like, "I don't know why everybody's saying it won't happen."
I remember that when that started occurring.
Yeah, isn't it like when we were in Vegas for the race? It feels like last year, 2 years ago.
It does.
So long ago.
Yeah. NASCAR season's a grind, man.
It really is, and there's like weird pockets and days
Think
off.
about it. Think about it for a second. They run 36-point races, and they've had an all-star race and a full week off
Yeah,
already. So we still got over half of what the actual season is in terms of duration, but they go a full 38 weeks.
yeah,
That's wild.
yeah. So, yeah. Okay, I agree. Thank you. Let's see. Yeah, because we still have
We have quite a
so
bit of
many.
races left.
Yeah, so we have 1, 2,
I
3,
think there's 9 regular season
7. Wait, no. 11 races
in the regular season.
regular season before we
Damn.
get to the Darlington race for the playoffs.
Woo.
So you have 11 races to get us 202 subscribers, and then you'll be entered for a Fanatics gift card. So if you watch every week and you're not subscribed, change that now.
And tell your friends. Just hit the
Tell your
subscribe button. They don't even have to watch. We would love it if they did, but
204 subscribers and we can get there. Yeah, but we appreciate everybody who turned out, who watched the race, who watches all of our content. We very much appreciate it. All right, let's talk Viva Mexico 250. I'll start with this before we dive into anything. The books have zero idea what to do this week. If they take a big bet, they're aggressively moving drivers and then they're moving them back. So
yeah.
if you missed out on a big number and you're like, shit, I missed out on Kyle Busch at 30, I'm going to bet him an 8. Don't do that. I mean, your money, your bets, go for it. But every book is hanging wildly different numbers.
Yep.
Nobody knows what to do. If they take a big bet from a respected bettor, hell, if they take one from a non-respected bettor, they're moving numbers. They're Carson Hocevar was long, he was short, he was kind of in between. It's floating around. So if there's a number that you see that you're like, damn, that's awesome, I'm gonna grab that, jump on it. Beyond there, I don't know. I'm gonna be very light initially. I think once practice qualifying goes and we see cars on track and we get some vibes, I'll definitely be, I believe, more comfortable, but who knows? We'll see what we see. I guess, Brian, for you, do you have any sort of inkling in terms of what we may get? Is this going to be Sonoma Road Course? Is this going to be Chicago Street Race? Is it going to be rainy and Denny's going to get on the pole and then crash on the first lap? Like, do we have anything? Have you read anything that makes you feel like you have any sort of idea where this track may be headed?
Yeah, so obviously, not being like an expert in the tracks myself, I kind of relying on other people's opinions and analysis here. But in Win the Race, our buddy Greg Mathern, he had been talking about how like Mexico is probably a hybrid of say like a Sonoma or a Watkins Glen to get
Okay.
of some nature. But even still, like the fact that it's at such a high elevation, the uh, the difference in the size, nobody has ever ran at this circuit in its current layout.
Yeah,
The
I do
weather
want to throw this
forecast,
up because I think this is the track layout. So we got 100 laps. We got a nice big like start finish area, and then we're gonna take the turn. We're gonna come around here. We're gonna come up through all these lines, kind of come back here and then back. So,
well, let me just point out like that front stretch that is super long straightaway. So
yeah,
you're going to get the fastest cars who run fast in a straight line. They're going to be able to pass on that straight, but then they're going to have to slam on the brakes in turn one. And we're probably going to have Calamity Corner, just like we
yeah.
saw.
Ross Chastain will be over here at some point. I guarantee.
I was just going to say, you're going to have guys. I remember a couple of years ago when Kyle Larson just completely missed a corner and just ARCA braked it and like demolished Bubba Wallace or something. And so I think you're probably going to see that again, which has me The way I've approached this week is when lines first opened, as Kyle said, the numbers were all over the place. Obviously, being in Vegas, there's books that aren't available to the rest of the country. So I got some longer numbers. But, I played a few long outrights, but I really can't feel comfortable playing the favorites or, for that matter, really matchups or anything of that nature until we see the cars on track.
Yeah, no, I think that's completely fair. When you got another straightaway here, but then it's like a little U-turn and then just through the nonsense. So
Yeah, like a million S's.
you have to find somebody who can cobble it together and bring a combination of both. So SVG is plus 325 at Caesars. I've seen him as low, but our friends offshore opened him at 180, which is egregious.
That's so stupid.
The US Open is this week, so if you really want some SVG on your card, you could parlay him with Scheffler. You could parlay him with Rory. You could parlay him with Bryson. You're kind of your flavor of the week. There's also some interesting Shane to not win and Scheffler to not win. And if you could find a book that lets you parlay those, they're both like inside minus. They're like minus 400 or shorter. You should be at both for both of them. So you put them together, you might get a decent price.
I also think looking to the Xfinity series, which has, I think it's like 4 Cup guys, 3 or 4 Cup guys running in the race. So you have Ty Gibbs, Christopher Bell, Suarez. It might just be those 3 are all running in the Xfinity race. And Connor Zilic is still the favorite there at about an even price. So, I mean, there's definitely an opportunity this week to spread your usual unit allocation out to maybe parlay a couple of those Xfinity guys with your favorite Cup guy and just kind of spray the board a little bit more than you usually would at a regular race or even at a road course where we kind of know who's going to be good.
Yeah, and as somebody who went in on some of those Cup guys when Zilic was in Texas, it didn't go well. So, approach it how you want to approach it. But you could do Zilic and SVG too. Let's see here if I can get a full rundown.
It really only gets you, I think it's like 8-1 or 9-1.
Yeah, but that feels better than like 3-1.
Yeah,
so
and Zilic is
Suarez is running the JR Motorsports. Let's see here.
Yeah, he's in the 9 car, right?
Yep.
And Christopher Bell's in the 24.
Sure is.
And then Ty Gibbs is in the 19.
Let's see. Yeah. I think you're right though. I think that's it.
Tyrone is pretty interesting to me. Like, if you want to get wild, I don't hate.
Are you saying take the Tyrone double this week?
Yeah, yeah. So if you're gonna play Gibbs, he's 30 at some places for Cup, and as short as that is, part of me is very intrigued by that number because I expect him to qualify well. And we all know how important track position at road courses or street courses is. But I mean, I would much rather get the number on him if you could parlay him in Xfinity and in Cup.
Yeah. Let us know too. There is in-season challenge odds. Is that something?
Oh, dude, I am so excited for that. But we gotta wait for the bracket. So we're gonna go off the rails here for a second. But I don't think the sports books understand how this thing is working. In that, you're probably going to have, say, like Ty Dillon versus, let's say it's Kyle Larson, and say we're at Atlanta, which is a pseudo super speedway. You bet your ass I'm going to bet Ty Dillon to advance against Kyle Larson in that matchup. And so I think the in-season tournament, if books open up like matchups for that tournament, that's going to be a fun way to get leverage on the sports books, but also looking at long shot winners of the tournament, I think is going to be really important because the way that they're doing this is not accumulation of points. It's on a race to race basis, finishing ahead of your competitor.
It sure is interesting. We also have the Canadian Grand Prix. We're like Brian said, we're getting off the rails, but we also don't have strong takes, at least at this point, until practice and qualifying.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to, I don't know, use a little Sonoma
I will
guys
say
that are good on the road courses.
AJ Allmendinger, I think we talked about this at Coda, and we talked about this coming into the season. The exit of Shane Van Gisbergen from Colleague's road course team really benefited AJ already this year at Coda. And I think this week too, for a guy of his skill level on this type of track, with nobody else having been there, that just gives him a bigger leg up versus everybody else.
Right.
And which was why the first bet that I made this week was Allmendinger.
Yeah. And speaking of legs, don't want to get Catherine leg this week. And if you like the dinger, like I like the dinger, like Brian clearly likes the dinger.
Yeah.
Look at the colleague to win markets, because sometimes those aren't matching up. And so if your book's being egregious with dinger because they're taking a lot of money on him, you might be able to get colleague at 14, 16, 18, whatever it is. So shop both lines. That's all I'm saying. So SVG, Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick, William Byron, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, all inside 10-1. I am pulling up the other screen just so I can look if there's any other egregious numbers. But I guess, Brian, of the guys that are kind of inside 10-1, is there anyone that's interesting to you?
No. I can't play anybody at the 3.25 before practice and qualifying.
Yeah.
I don't care who they are, what track. Like,
I don't know if we can play him after practice and qualifying, to be honest. Like,
I mean,
there's
if
been
he
times where we
qualifies on the
should play.
pole and he looks really good,
Yeah, but he's gonna be the 180, 175 price.
oh yeah, no, then you're cooked there.
Larson
Yeah.
is interesting just because he's 10-1, but like,
Yeah, but man, that I think they've kind of fallen into that HMS summer lull, because when you look at their performances and the cars they've been showing up with, they're not quite at the level that we're used to seeing that team.
yeah. What about Reddick?
I don't know. We talked about
I
him
mean, we've
last
only
week.
really seen Coda this year. We haven't even gone to Sonoma yet.
And he was kind of disappointing at Coda. I know he came on strong. I actually rewatched the race today, but he led the opening whatever laps, but then he really fell off. And that's kind of been the same thing this year. Is he hasn't had a level car in the sense that he's got a little bit of short run speed and a little bit of long run speed. It's been one or the other.
Yeah.
And it's not like he's been the road course ringer that we kind of, or a lot of people talk him up to be. With 2311, he's only won once.
Yep.
And that was way back in 2023. So it's not like we're talking about a guy that recently won on a road course.
What about the average ass?
I'm not going there again, but I do think that he's going to be pretty good this weekend.
Yeah. Suarez is now 12.
Yeah, you can't bet that.
No. You'd need like 20 something to bet.
You got to have his opening numbers out here in Vegas were 25 and 30. And I mean, if you go at win the race, like they do their fair market value thing, that's not value on him just because he's him too. He's only won one road course. But there's definitely something to narratives and all that thing. And the fact that he's the only Mexican driver in the sport, they've been using him as a microphone for this race. Like there is no there's no chance in hell that Trackhouse is going to give him a donkey, as his wife said from the playoffs on the.
So either they're going to go the way of Ricky Fowler at the Rocket Mortgage, where he's going to be doing PR and bullshit all the time and he's going to be awful, or NASCAR is going to look the other way and they're going to juice up his hot rod and he's going to be even better.
So that's funny you say that, because I don't know if it was in our Discord or I said it to somebody that I think his car is going to be so OP and NASCAR is going to be afraid to disqualify him because, regardless of where they are or what they're doing, if you've ever been to like an international sporting event or you watch like international soccer or anything of that nature, their fans are different than ours. And the fact that he is representing them, they would not get out of there alive. If they disqualified Daniel Suarez after winning,
Yeah.
like that ain't happening.
Um.
They're gonna have to turn a blind eye to that one.
So Suarez is 15 at FanDuel. It's probably too short, right?
I just can't bet that short on him.
Yeah. What about 16 on Kyle Busch? Same idea, right?
Kyle Busch hasn't won in like over 60 races.
Yeah, he ain't going in. Christopher Buescher?
Buescher really hasn't been great qualifying on road courses. I think he's qualified like 4 or 5 straight outside the top 20.
Wasn't I mean he's the one that's better at Sonoma, right?
Well, he won Watkins Glen last year.
Let's see. Yeah, he was third at Sonoma last year. He's fourth the year before. He's second, so he's just like a top 5 machine at Sonoma. So
I don't know. Look, I'm not down on Buescher by any means, but he's not a guy that I look to historically to bet before practice and qualifying, especially at road courses, because he doesn't.
And he had his good qualifying effort last week, so he's done for like a month now.
Well, he's been good qualifying on ovals this year for sure. But at COTA, it was like he was just kind of blah, and then late in the race,
that was like that was before Vegas. When we talked about how long ago Vegas feels.
Yeah.
That's
what I'm saying. So this week, it's a very slow and steady approach to the books. There's nothing currently available that is like, oh, you got to go bet this. The only market that I did like that's gone was Chevy to win opened at -200 at Caesars. And I felt like that was a decent play in the fact that you're getting 8 of the 10 shortest odds on the board. And then you already know from the Ford camp, it's really Chris Buescher.
Yeah.
And nobody else. And then from Toyota, like, you can wait and see which one do you want to bet out of Christopher Bell or Tyler Reddick, so you just bet that Chevy and forget it. And you get all the you get AJ, all the Trackhouse boys, HMS, Kyle Busch, who's very popular this week.
Is he more popular than Dinger?
Oh yeah, Kyle Busch has been getting slammed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's Kyle. People love Kyle Busch.
I mean, I kind of poo-pooed his performance at COTA, but after rewatching the race today, he was actually pretty damn good. And this is a guy that in his younger years was really good on road courses.
And like I mentioned in the Discord, and this is probably still how I feel. We'll look at the odds here in a second. But like, I want to bet Kyle Busch top 5. I don't want to do top Chevy because might as well bet him to win the race at that point.
Exactly.
Top 5, maybe group or matchup betting. I think he could have a good day, but I don't think he could win. Is there anybody at current odds that you think I want to add him to the card right now? Let's see what happens. Hamlin, 40?
Fuck no. I don't even think Hamlin's going to race. I don't know. We didn't even hit on this, but he's...
Oh, this would be a phenomenal race for Denny just to MIA.
Yeah, this morning on Sirius XM, he told Daniel Trotta that if Taylor tells him or she goes into labor before he's supposed to leave on Thursday, he's not going. He's going to be here for the baby.
Yeah.
And like, why it's already written in the rule book that he's going to get a waiver because it's the birth of a child. So why even worry about going down to Mexico when you just won your third race of the year? Like,
right. Well, it's all like he's going to a place where he can contend and actually win. He's just going to give you also ran and
exactly. Yeah.
are we still doing Algier in the Cup car if he doesn't run?
No, it'd be Truex, Ryan Truex.
That's right, Ryan Truex.
However, that would be freaking awesome if they were like, "Hey, Martin."
Yeah. Give me Marty
would be
Party at
sick.
40-1, baby. Let's ride.
Yeah, you bet your ass. No, it's interesting to note. So I do think that there is a little bit of CLV value, which doesn't mean shit, clearly, on Bubba Wallace's super long numbers this week. If the 2311 qualifies or they run as fast as they did at Coda,
yeah,
Bubba's numbers are going to get slashed. And when you go back and you look at Coda, not only did Bubba Wallace have a track limit penalty, but he also, I think he spun during the race and he still finished in the teens. And he's been getting better at road courses. So if the pins fall the right way, who knows? This is a weird track. First time we went to Chicago, we had Justin Haley and I believe it was like Joey Hand or something leading laps. Let's
see what we can do here. Look at all these stupid. Bubba. So Ryan. Oh my God, Ryan Blaney is 140.
Yeah, Rivers is caca.
Does 365 have odds?
Yeah, they do.
Okay, let's do that instead.
Yeah, they have all their markets out. So FanDuel has Kyle Busch top 10 top 5 at plus 210. Kyle.
That seems good. Top 5. Okay, I guess I am adding bets to the card tonight. I honestly didn't think I would be doing it, but here we go. Kyle Busch, top 5. Welcome to the betting card.
All right, and I actually played this number. Full disclosure, at double the price here in Vegas. It's no longer available, but I am going to play Bubba Wallace top Toyota. And I'm going to play it's at 40-1 at 365.
Wow. You played it at 80?
I got it at 80 here in Vegas, yeah.
Jesus. Someone's living good out there. Yeah. Offshore doesn't have it posted. I'm going to add the Ryan Blaney at 250. I know.
The top 10?
Yeah.
I
know the thing about Ryan Blaney is you'll never feel like he's going to win a road course, at least anytime soon. But he's gotten so much better on road courses, and I think he'll do enough, and especially with those straightaways, I think he can be consistent enough to finish 9th. And like you mentioned with Justin Haley and other jabronis finishing in the top 10 in Chicago, we could see stuff like that too.
100%.
And if you
I'm actually gonna. It's funny you say that. So this is another one that I played here in Vegas. So I'm gonna put this on the card here because again I feel like the number is too long. But Blaney top Ford market plus 650. I think it's available at 365 and Caesars as we're recording this.
I'm joining you on that one too.
There is literally one guy in that stable that I worry about. Chris Buescher. That's it.
He could get 14th and be top 4.
That's what I'm saying. I know Austin Cindric. We've talked about Cindric in the past as being a previous road course guy, but I don't trust Austin Cindric with nothing. And Blaney, he always shows speed. He had speed at Coda early on in the race, and he's just not the greatest road course guy. But if you were to tell me that Blaney is running 9th here in Mexico, that's not going to shock me whatsoever.
Yeah. Let me see here. I'll actually pull it up. So Sonoma last year, he got 7th. So last year in road courses, Coda he was 12th, Sonoma he was 7th, the Roval he was 10th, he was 19th at Coda this year. Like he's getting better at road courses. He was Sonoma 22, he was 6th. Sonoma 23, obviously 31st, and then Sonoma 24, he was 12th. 7th. So he's been like ping ponging, but I like that call quite a bit.
Yeah, and I think those are the places that you have to kind of look at before we see them on track, just because we have no idea who's going to run well, and then especially if we have to run two separate tire compounds.
Yeah.
Like say it starts raining during the race and then we got to come back down and put wets on. It's going to change the outlook of the race completely. So I would not want to be too involved with this race heading into the weekend.
Yeah. And like I said, don't bet this. Just bet them to win if you think they could beat SVG, or find a head-to-head or something.
I was just going to say, so the top Chevy market, there's no value there this week at all.
Is there value on Byron against Bell? He's been better on road courses than I think anyone wants to give him credit for.
Oh, yeah, no. Byron's one of the most consistent. What happened last week, though?
You know what, Brian? We don't need to live with that. Okay?
That's what I'm saying.
But listen, starting in 23, he was 5th at Coda, 14th at Sonoma, 14th at Indy, won Watkins Glen, 2nd at the Roval, 1st at Coda in 24, 30th at Sonoma, obviously terrible. Glen 34th, terrible. But then Roval 3rd, and he was 2nd at Coda this year.
But that's the thing is, his finishes are funneled at the Roval and Coda. Watkins Glen and Sonoma, he's really not great.
He won 23 2 years ago.
Where at Watkins?
Yeah.
Yeah, but traditionally, that's what I'm saying.
He was 9th at Sonoma in 22.
Look, I'm not going to talk you off the ledge to bet
He
Byron.
was 6th at the Glen in 21. I mean, I don't need him to win. I just need him to be in front of Christopher Bell, but that's probably a dangerous task.
So the way that I look at that matchup is there's a legit possibility that they're running 3 and 4 the whole race. And
yeah,
that's not enough separation for me to want to play a matchup.
Should we max bet Carson Hocevar against Alex Bowman? Because Hocevar will probably have an issue in stage 3, but Bowman won't even get out of stage 1, so that's a win, right?
Oh man!
What about KFB versus Chastain?
That's so funny you say that. I've been staring at that matchup all day, but because I have, I actually have Busch to win, but then I also have a pretty large track house to win bet. I don't want to play.
Yeah, that doesn't. That makes
yeah,
sense.
But I would definitely lean Kyle Busch in that matchup.
I kind of like Chase Elliott in the matchup against Dinger. Dinger is going to go for... Well, he's not as go for brokey anymore.
He doesn't need to be because he's actually getting points on ovals this year.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, that's another factor into the Dinger thing is that he's not going to take himself out of a race now because of aggressiveness.
Christopher Buescher plus 120 against Average Ass.
Yeah, see, I don't hate that, but
Reddick plus 120 against C-Bell.
That seems pretty good.
Here's that Hocevar against Bowman. It's minus 160 here.
Holy mackerel.
And it's
it's minus 160 for Hocevar?
Yeah.
Man, I would take the other side just out of principle.
Yeah, so put 5 units on Bowman at minus 115. Or
shit.
At plus 130.
Yeah, we're doing that. You have to. Yeah.
Throw it on there for me. I am once again acting to get kicked in the cojones. Backing
but no. Hold on. Look. We're gonna get ourselves some small win here. We're both gonna play 5-unit max plays on both sides here.
You either get plus 120 or our money back.
It's minus 115 for Hocevar on Caesars versus Bowman, and then it's plus 130 for Bowman versus Hocevar on 365.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to take the plus 130, and then I'm going to be ready for Bowman to the odds to flip come race day when Bowman has like a good qualifying, and then I'll grab my CLB there.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I may just come back and bet the other side too. Man, now I gotta hold on, I gotta make a text here. Although I don't even know if I could get down there because 365 has kind of put the kibosh on me getting significant money down.
You might get your like 1275 down. You'll be okay.
They'll come back and say $4.60. Bastards. At least it's not Illinois charging 50 cents per bet.
What?
Oh, you haven't seen that?
No.
Yeah, Illinois, not Illinois, Fanduel, they just implemented a 50-cent tax per bet because of Illinois' new like tax.
Illinois' rates are so egregious.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
This
Stupid.
legal sports betting where they take your money and then if you actually win, they don't let you bet anymore and then charge you on top of that. It's just
it's dumb.
Yeah. All right, Brian. Well, we've gone almost an hour.
Oops.
We have a lot more bets than I thought we were going to have, which is exciting for us. Is there anything else you want to tap into before we recap where the card currently sits and look to get out of here?
No, I don't think. I mean,
Okay.
I do think that if you have the means to do so, definitely look for matchups like that Bowman Hocevar one where you can get both sides and make a profit regardless.
Yep. Be patient with numbers. Don't get over your skis. Look for value where you can find it. I'm on Kyle Busch top 5, Ryan Blaney top 10, Ryan Blaney top Ford. That doesn't make sense. Let's do this. And we'll do this. And then Bowman over Hocevar at plus 130. So those are all going to go super poorly for me. I'm very excited about that. Brian has Blaney top Ford, Wallace top Toyota, Bowman over Hocevar, and Hocevar over Bowman because you got to make that nickel back.
It's
Chad
like a
Kroger.
quarter, man. It's like a quarter of a unit. Those add up.
Beautiful. Lock in a profit before we even get to race day.
You better believe it.
You'll love to see it. Let us know down in the comments if you have any strong takes in terms of who you're backing, who you're going with, who you're fading, all that good stuff. Make sure you click like if you made it this far. Make sure you click subscribe on your way out if you've yet to do that. We'll be back in your feed Sunday morning, post practice and qualifying, with thoughts, hopefully a lot more concrete ideas of where we're at. That's Brian Twining, live from Las Vegas. I'm Kyle Robert. You guys have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you next time.